free mind. You crazy for this. Soulful. It's like our responsibility to make us feel something. You know, to make people feel. Make people feel what we feeling. Hey, yo.
Reggie here, and I want to welcome you to another one of my live streams. This is the Ready, Set, Go preview show, a show that we do on Sunday night to get the week started off on the right foot. And as part of this show, I typically talk about some news and current events, things that are top of mind for me and might also be top of mind for you. In addition to that, I provide you with a little bit of a preview of some of the content that is going to be coming out on the channel over the course of this week. And I think that there are a couple of cool videos that will be coming out this week. And my hope is that folks will actually take the time to watch them and maybe even subscribe if they like some of the content that is coming out from the channel. Huge shout out to everyone that took time earlier today to post up comments of appreciation for me and for the channel. I spent a lot of time today with the family. We went to go pick up an enhancer for my wife's wedding ring. We ordered this thing about a week ago. And the enhancer came in. We were actually out to a family lunch at the time. The phone call came in. I told her we were going to Cabela's, and we ended up going to the mall to get her enhancer. So she was pretty pleased with that. And because the kids were very excited about going to Cabela's, we ultimately went to Cabela's where Santa was there. It took 3 laps around the store before my daughter was cool with taking a photo with Santa. So we ended up taking a photo with Santa, and it has been a good day. And as we were driving home from Cabela's, I finally started to check some of my messages and saw a wonderful outpouring of appreciation for me, for the channel. And it meant a lot. So huge shout out to everyone that took the time to post something up. There was something funky going on with my Instagram where I go to comment on something and it says no comments have been posted. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on with Instagram. I applied to get the blue check, the official blue check, about 3 or 4 days ago. I got rejected. So maybe they are, I don't know. Let's just say I don't know. But again, huge shout out to everybody who took time to post something up. It is appreciated. It is appreciated. So let me say hello to some folks. I'm gonna say hello to some folks, and then I'm going to give you guys a rundown of the content that is going to be coming out from the channel. And I'm going to talk about something else that I did not talk about the other day that I needed to. Nerdscape, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you. Steve White's in the house. Randy Snake, how you doing, brother? It's good to see you. Chris Bigger, my man. Thank you very much. Turbo Todd, I think it was Turbo Todd that said he was coming out of his shell. I think that's what he said. And man, it takes a lot. It takes a lot. If it wasn't you, it was somebody else that said it. I mean, again, I was rolling down the screen, kind of scanning through messages. But it takes a lot to start to post up on social media, to put your face out there, put your name out there, all that kind of stuff. So huge shout out to you. Phil Tastic, gotta ask, what's an enhancer? Brother, you know what? I respect the question. I respect the question. So an enhancer, Tina knows this. Tina, it's just extra bling. It is extra bling. What it does, honestly, is it prevents my wife's solitaire from rotating on her finger. It'll rotate left or right and kind of get in the way of what she's doing. And so the enhancer keeps the solitaire upright, and it basically is like two bands, and the wedding band sits in the middle. That's essentially what it is. It's called an enhancer. Yeah, we've been talking about this enhancer for quite some time. We went to look at it last week when she and I were on a date. we went to go look at it, and when she walked away, I told the person I was going to buy it. So we ended up buying it. They did the sizing. They had to send it away. It came back. They called me while we were out to lunch watching football and soccer on TV, and we made the magic happen. So there you go. Thank you, Tina. I definitely appreciate it. I really do. It was a nice surprise. I did not. I mean, I saw the messages coming in and stuff like that where people tagging you, and that's pretty standard. But I looked and I was like, there's a lot of them. I was like, what's going on? And then I saw the video from Matt Woods. Shout out to Matt Woods. And then I saw, I then started to open up all the individual posts and stuff like that. So definitely appreciate it. Rush, how you doing, brother? It is good to see. IG has been, man. So my sister works for Meta, right? So my sister was here for Thanksgiving. She came for GarageCon. She stayed for Thanksgiving. I've been giving her a hard time. I'm like, check it out. Your brother is trying to get on this IG official thing. Meta owns IG. Can you hook a brother up? And she says she looked into it, couldn't make the magic happen. So when I got rejected this last time, she sends me a message and she says, I'm trying to investigate. And I'm like, do what you do. Okay. Do what you do. So I like giving my younger sister a harder time. Joe, how you doing? He said, DC wall. That's what's up. I think it's all a DC wall back there. That's what's up. Scrolling through, somebody shouted out my bear over here. I thought that this was a Canadian bear. I'm sorry, not a Canadian bear, a California bear. I thought that that's what it was. I walked into Cabela's earlier today. I saw, I think not the exact same one, but the same design. And I was like, maybe it's a Cabela bear. Or maybe it's just a bear on a pillow. I don't know. But I thought it was a California bear. These are my fraternity colors. A member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. So we try to get a little crimson and cream in the shot. Scrolling through some of the comments. Vox, how you doing, brother? It's good to see you. Squirrel Mattis is in the house. He says, that's a great wall for sure. That's what's up. Steve, I definitely appreciate it, man. Someone asked me a question because we are going to do a couple of Q&A. Somebody asked me a question whether I saw myself as a source of inspiration for people. You get the messages from people that are like, hey, I started a YouTube channel because of you. Hey, I decided to start Instagram because of you. Hey, I decided to clean and press comics because of the videos you put out. That's great. I just don't necessarily think of that on a daily basis. It's not like I walk around and I'm like, I'm an influencer. I'm an inspiration to people. Like that's not in the front of my mind. What's in the front of my mind is my kids are hungry. I need to make these. I need to make this breakfast. I need to make this dino chicken for lunch. I got to go do this thing for work. I got to go do this for my wife because we all work for our wives. If you are married and or have a significant other, you know what I mean. There's always this, I got to create this video. I got to respond to this person or this person send me an email. That's the stuff you think about. You don't think I'm an inspiration. I'm an influencer. You think I've got stuff to do. You know what I'm saying? And so it was really nice when I saw the messages kind of come in from people to verbally express their appreciation for not just me, but what has formed around the channel, which is a really wonderful community where people can be themselves, can express themselves, and know that it's okay to have differences of opinion and different preferences. And that it's okay to toot your horn. It's okay to celebrate someone else's wins. It's okay to have a bad day. Like the Gibbon Gang and Comic Swoldiers is a welcoming environment in my mind, and that's honestly how the channel started, right? This was on purpose. This was not accidental, right? And it was on purpose because when I started creating videos, I was like, man, I might mess up a lot. So let me create an environment where it's okay to not necessarily be perfect, right? And it's okay to make mistakes, and it's okay to mispronounce Galactus's name or whatever it might be. And no one's going to crush your soul over it. It was purposeful from the very beginning. And thankfully, we've been able to add more and more people and some wonderful blue wrenches that subscribe to that philosophy of it's okay. It's okay. It's all going to be fine. We're here for fun. We're here to have a good time. We're not going to take any of this too serious. And so it's cool. It's cool. So shout out to everybody who took the time. Trev is up in here. Jim, how you doing, brother? It's good to see you. Scrolling through Mad Colts. How you doing, brother? It's good to see you. Bratton, one of the Bratton boys. Dave, it is good to see you, brother. Definitely appreciate that. Comics by the Bay. I subscribed to you on the Instagram earlier today. We are going to talk about subscribing on the Instagram in just a few moments. Mark says, I had no idea what I was doing. My first post ever. Mark, I definitely appreciate it, brother. I appreciate you taking the time to come out of your shell, sir. To come out of your shell and actually put a post up on the Instagram. I definitely appreciate it. I am scrolling through the comments. We already said, my man Afram, how you doing, brother? Afram was a guest. Afram was a guest on the show earlier this week. He came on and hung out with me to talk a little bit about creator rights and creators not being paid. And believe it or not, we are going to touch on that topic as a little bit of a follow-up here in just a moment. I'm definitely behind schedule, but we are going to wing it and make some magic happen. I'm not sure that was the most family-friendly answer. What did I say? I don't know what I said. If I said something, it was not purposeful this time. Scrolling down through the comments, follow-up question: how many Ultimate Fallout 4s does it cost? What do you got? I don't know what you're talking about. I think Ultimate Fallout is Ultimate Fallout my Snag These videos. Snag? No, that was the last one. Last one was Snag for Ultimate Fallout. Scrolling through Reggie, my man, you are turning my subpar collection into goodness, quality over quantity. You are very welcome, James. You are very welcome, my friend. It's wonderful. I had somebody reach out to me earlier today. We had a great conversation about some things that I think that I'm going to touch on. He says, since I watched your goal video, man, total change. I can't thank you enough. You are very welcome, brother. You are welcome. What I try to do to some degree or another, to be honest with you, is I try to take things that happen in other aspects of my life and I try to apply them to the hobby, right? And it might be goal setting at work that gets pulled over, or me filing my taxes, pulling that over into comics, right? Me going and hearing some speaker give a wonderful presentation. I try to pull these things in from other aspects of my life, because none of this is in isolation, right? Like, we all collect comics, but we are all wives and husbands and business owners and employees, and we're all of these things, and none of this stuff happens in isolation, right? So the idea is to apply some things from other parts of our lives to make comics a little more practical, right? And to make it all make sense, instead of being potentially this willy-nilly activity that we all get into. Because let me tell you, it's easy to spend some money. It is easy to burn through some money, no doubt about it. And the goal is to be a little smarter about it. Look at those beautiful awards in the background. Well, well done. Well done. They do look good back there. A part of me wants to turn the lights on, but I just think it might be a little distracting with those lights against the slabs, against the lights on the floor, and the ones overhead, and the ones that are shining on my beady head. As someone spoke about earlier today, I think they said my smooth bald head, or my Casey Kasem voice. I think that was one of the quotes. All right, so I am way behind on stuff. So let me try to catch myself up real quick. Let me give you guys. No, first I want to announce the winner of the short box giveaway for this month. For the month of December, I was remiss in doing this on Wednesday, so I want to go ahead and do it now. The winner of the $100 credit from my friends over at ShortBoxed is Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes, you, sir, are the winner of the giveaway. This is basically a $100 credit that can be applied to the purchase of anything on the ShortBoxed app, which is available in the US, in Canada, and Europe. And all you have to do, Snake Eyes, is to send me an email to Reggie@RegieCollects.com. And it's REGIE, Reggie@RegieCollects.com, confirming your screen name, your government name, and I will get the code that you need to apply for inside of the app. So if you send me that email, I will make that magic happen. It normally takes a couple of days, but be patient with me and we will make that happen for you. So huge shout out to Snake Eyes. All right. So let me give you guys, Herman, how you doing, brother? It's good to see you. Good to Yo, Joe, indeed. Mr. says, just got off work. and thinking about comics. Let's be honest, brother. If I'm working, I'm probably thinking about comics as well. So I don't reserve my comics for after hours. I do it during the day. No, well, welcome. Thank you, brother, for making your way here. Hope you had a good day at work. The content that is coming out from the channel this week, we are going to release finally, I think. I did a comic book hacks video. I sometimes go down the rabbit hole when I'm on social media of these things that pop up, and it's like hacks you didn't know, right? Like, what is the pocket for on the side of your jeans? Or did you know this extra hole that's in the pop can, not soda, but pop can, is actually to hold your straw? It's stuff like that, where I was like, you know what? I'm going to create a hacks video. I was inspired by the rabbit hole to create a hack video. I recorded it a couple of weeks ago. Haven't gotten around to releasing it, but it's coming out this week. We're going to do a snag these books now. I'm going to run down some really awesome comic book keys that are seeing their values plummet. And one of those books, I do believe, has dropped by like over 50%. I think one of them was over 54% this year alone. One was 54, one was 36, and another was 44% over the course of this year. And they, let me tell you, these are some really awesome books. At least one of them is a Bronze Age comic that has suffered in value. The video is solid. I encourage you guys to check it out. And then I'm going to do a video. Well, I've already recorded it, but I was inspired the other day to record a video on books that you should not buy. Books that you should not buy. I'm going to run it down, snag these books, avoid these books. Comic book hacks, 3 awesome videos dropping this week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And on Wednesday, we will be doing Comics Today, which is a live show. So there you go. And then in addition to that, the podcast will also be coming out on your favorite podcasting platforms. So that is the rundown right there of some of the stuff that's coming out. Let me scroll down real quick and see. Oh my goodness. Spoilers. True Rock #1. There you go. Scarecrow is saying stop buying Hulk 181. Scarecrow, do you own Hulk 181? Is that why you're trying to get people to not buy it so that you can get the price? I don't know. I don't want to go up the ladder. I don't want to go up the ladder. Oh my goodness, I'm not touching that. Hacks for turning your 7.5 into a 9.8. Yeah, that's clean and press. You have to clean and press it, my man. That is the goal. And pull the string and it goes pop, says Richard. You guys are hilarious. Let me see. Pretty fly for a Filipino guy. How you doing, brother? It's good to see you. I was thinking about you earlier today. Pretty fly buddy of mine posted up on Instagram because I don't have that young of kids anymore. But my buddy posted up, he has 2 kids and he has his third on the way. And so I always think about my guys that have young kids. I feel very bad for you, all of you. I feel very bad for you. Pretty fly. It is good to see you, brother. All right. Scrolling through some of the comments here. The worst is when you're at work and you're shopping for comics. Like that might be the worst. You know what I'm saying? But I've maybe been there. Scrolling through. All right. So let me give you guys a quick update on something. Earlier this week, I think it was Wednesday. On Wednesday, we spent some time talking about something that exploded on the internet. And it was some creators had chosen to speak out about the fact that they were not getting paid. And this was writers and artists that were basically saying that they were basically ghosted by some publishers out there that they had done work for. They had either not been paid or paid extremely late. In some cases, the non-payment was an oversight. And when the oversight was brought to the attention of the publisher, they then corrected it. But by and large, many of these creators that chose to speak out did not name names. And my guest, Afram, who was on the show, was like, hey, you can read between the lines. If you look at what they're talking about and if you do a search to see what they might be working on, you might be able to figure out who the problem is. One company, Valiant, was actually named by name in the comments that were left by these creators. Many of the others chose not to say anything. I guess after this exploded, there was somebody that made a comment and they named another publisher that was not actually paying anybody, and it was Aftershock Comics. Aftershock Comics was named specifically for non-payment. and they chose to respond. They chose to respond, which is something that I actually applaud them for. And I want to take a look at what they responded, and I want to get you all's opinion of it. I'm going to give you my opinion. Normally, I just kind of sort of cover the news, but I'm going to give you my opinion as to at least what I think that I'm hearing. So Aftershock Comics issues statement after creators claim they aren't getting paid. This actually came out on December 16th, a couple of days ago. So I'm going to just skip to the meat of it. This creator, Alex, basically spoke up, and he says he named Aftershock as one of the culprits while highlighting an example from a creator who spoke about these late payments. Let me see. Here is his actual quote. He says, this is Aftershock Comics. They owe friends of mine tens of thousands, and I've been doling out contact details, I guess, to the California lawyers for the arts, like it was Christmas candy. So I guess maybe there's a class action lawsuit that might be filing, that might get filed, of creators that have not been paid, potentially by Aftershock. And this guy, Alex, is kind of organizing some of this stuff. He says this is shameful behavior and people need to know it. Also, their rights deal sucks. And this was all on Twitter. And it says a few days after this and other tweets, Aftershock and Legendary announced a new deal to create a movie. So they have basically optioned something that they published, right? They went ahead and optioned this to Legendary. And it says, in the wake of Aftershock's announcement, comicbook.com reached out to the publisher for comment on the issues of non-payment to creators. And here was their response. It says, thank you for reaching out. For easy reference, here is our statement on the matter. The company is addressing the late payments as so let me pause here. For easy reference, here is our statement on the matter. The company is addressing late payments. So that is confirmation that they have indeed not paid creators on time. So you have to appreciate the fact that they are basically saying, yes, this is true. We have not paid people. It goes on to say that they are addressing late payments as outstanding funds owed to the company come in. This is basically saying, in my mind, that they have limited cash on hand, maybe little to no cash on hand, and they are paying people as they get paid by whoever it is that might owe them funds. And maybe it's Legendary that owes them funds. Maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's Diamond Diamond may pay them back after orders have come through. I don't know all the details of it. And then they say there are no non-payments. Technically, there are no non-payments because you haven't paid, which makes it a non-payment. It says everyone who is owed money will be paid. We recognize our obligations and consider creator compensation our number one priority. We apologize for the situation and are making our best efforts to rectify it as quickly as possible. So again, they have acknowledged this. They have basically said, yes, we have not paid creators. But in part of that, what they're also saying is that we don't have the money to pay them. We are basically getting creators to create work on credit, basically, and we will pay them as we get paid. I also noted that they gave no indication of when the creators would actually be paid, right? So it's like, hey, I know you owe you money, but I'm going to pay you when I get paid, and I don't know when that's going to be, but I got you. That's essentially the gist of this statement as I read it. I kind of sort of applaud them for at least responding. I think, I don't know what to think of it, right? Let me pause there. I just feel that this is a tough statement. So you can't fly that close to the sun when it comes to cash flow, says Squirrel Madness. When I leave my when I leave my LCS, I have little to no cash on hand. Well done, brother. Well done. I am scrolling through the comments. Let me see what else you guys. I'm not touching that one. I am not touching that. I owe you papers aplenty. I see. Every Wednesday is empty, the wallet day. That's what's up. Is that mentioned ahead of time? Do creators know this when they are doing the work? So that's actually a really good question, Richard. And I think that it depends on the publisher. It depends on the contract. Some of the creators that commented on Twitter before, when I spoke about this on Wednesday, indicated that they kind of sort of know that they're going to be paid later, right? But they don't know what the later is, right? I would say, and you would probably agree with this, 6 months to a year is probably way too late, especially when you're constantly doing work for maybe some of these same publishers while simultaneously not getting paid by them. Like, it's just all adding up, which is probably why Alex highlighted that there was at least one friend that was owed tens of thousands of dollars. That wasn't one project. That's probably many projects stretching over time. So that's a really good question. Some of the other comments that I saw online was some of the smaller publishers pay instantaneously. Like, you send them an invoice, you get paid. That's just the way that it is. But maybe it's a little bit easier when you're a smaller organization, a smaller publisher, right? You have a lot more visibility into your cash flow. You also probably work pretty closely with that artist and know exactly what's going on. So not to make excuses, but to maybe provide a little bit of insight. I wonder, do the companies that hear their property has been optioned send money they don't have? I wonder, do the companies that hear their property has been optioned send money? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that one. Afram is on the board here. He says, yes, we have not paid, and there are no non-payments. Yeah. I mean, it's basically what it says is we haven't paid these people, but there's no non-payments because we are going to pay you. We just don't know when we're going to pay you, and we're going to get back to you after we get paid. We're gonna break you off. I mean, that was basically the gist of the comment. Everyone who is owed money will be paid after. Herman, as he says, after management, suppliers, where does the talent fall in the payment priority schedule? I'll be honest with you, Herman. I went to their website. I went to Aftershock's website, and I will tell you there is a long list of staff people, which I'm guessing are staff people, editors and publicity managers and marketing people, and there's a long list. I think there was probably 9 or 10 of them, photos and bios. I'm pretty sure they got paid. I'm pretty sure scrolling through some of the comments here, acknowledging a cash flow problem is good first step. More steps need. There you go. Well said. Acknowledge again. You have to applaud that at least they acknowledged it. I think when the news broke, I want to say a couple of people reached out to Valiant to see whether Valiant would respond. I personally sent them a message. It was like, hey, like, I don't know if you saw this on Bleeding Cool, but hey, this is out there. Care to comment, right? I didn't expect him to respond, but I had to take shot on goal, right? Maybe I would have been pleasantly surprised. You have to kind of appreciate Aftershock at least responding. Not the best response, but they took shot on goal. Scrolling through. So for those folks that are coming in a little late, we are spending a little bit of time here following up on a story that we spoke about earlier last week about the non-payment to creators by publishers for work that they had done. We have a response from Aftershock. They basically said, hey, there's no non-payments, but we haven't paid anybody, but we are going to pay everybody as soon as we get paid. That is the gist. If you came in late, you are all caught up. Scrolling through some of the comments here, my wife empties my wallet before I go to the somebody's going to get the money, brother. And the wife clearly knows how you roll. That's why she's tapping your pockets before you walk out the door. If they get that tight on cash, how can they continue to print books? It's well said, brother. I mean, maybe they're getting credit. Maybe they're getting credit terms. Like, I don't know how all of it works. Even though I do publish some stuff, I don't know how it all works. But I can tell you that Diamond will take up to 60% of your money. So maybe they have some cash, but because printing costs are like still stupidly high, right? They may have money to pay for that, but then they don't have enough money to pay the creators, so they're waiting for the books to actually be sold, and maybe Diamond sends them the other 40% or whatever after they take their 60%, assuming Diamond takes 60%. Like, I don't know how the cash flow works, but clearly there is not enough cash to go around. And I mean, and part of it is, and people may not like this idea. Comic shops operate on a profit margin of what? Like less than 50%. I mean, I think maybe 30%, something like that. Like, comic shops don't earn a ton of money, right? Publishers have to pay Diamond. They have to pay printers. They have to pay a lot of people. They have to pay creators, right? Do you want comic prices to go up? I don't think anybody wants that, but we also don't want creators not getting paid. Like, there's a lot of squeezing everywhere. You know what I'm saying? A lot of squeezing of nickels and dimes, and it clearly is not enough money to go around. And I certainly do not have the answer. I certainly do not have the answer, but I can tell you, when that publisher sends that bill, they are not shipping a single book until they get their money. I can tell you that for a fact. Also, the statement could be an admission against interest should there be a court case, says Joe. I had a similar thought about that one. Let me see. I'm scrolling through. I feel like the non-payment statement was written by someone in HR. If you've ever worked for a corporation, right? You know that somebody writes the statement, then the statement is circulated, and everybody that it circulates to adds a little bit to it, modifies it just a little bit as they sign off on it, right? So rest assured that a couple of attorneys touched that statement, and potentially HR did as well. If they have an HR department, if they haven't outsourced it, or just will, like, I don't even think like Image even had an HR department. It could have just been an attorney. You don't want attorneys issuing statements. Let me just tell you that. Scrolling through some of the comments here, see what else you guys are talking about. Then the employers invest their money in it. I think that's like one of the big challenges, man, is that, people are saying, hey, you published my work, you didn't pay me, and then you optioned my work to be turned into a movie or a TV show. I'm guessing that the creators get a part of that, but again, it depends upon the deals that are actually signed, and we never really get insight into some of the deals that are signed. But it is all an interesting thing. I'm scrolling through some of the comments here. I think I am all Valiant only drops one book a month. Ain't no payment coming from them. You know what? I saw that. I don't know if it was an article or a post a couple of days ago when I was doing my research for the Wednesday show, and I wasn't sure whether that was still true or not, Liger Style. I don't know if they still only publish one book, because what I saw looked like it came out in August of this year. So I'm not certain, and that's why I didn't talk about it. But the fact that you're saying it, maybe that is indeed still true. So how many? Woo. Ooh, you guys are on fire tonight. You guys are on fire. The part of the challenge is, I know people say variants. There's too many variants out there, right? They say that there's too many variants, which I don't disagree with. But it's like, I think the publishers are trying to make money to stay in business. I think the comic shops that offer variant exclusives are trying to make money to stay in business. The influencers that offer these covers are trying to stay in business, right? People are trying to stay in business because the economy is shrinking, right? And they're just trying to find some ways to actually make money. Matt Wood says Swoldier Publishing doesn't use Diamond. It had man, I'm gonna be honest with you. When I looked at their thing, they want you to have I think it's at least 3 months of issues in the can. And I think that their starting negotiation point for them doing distribution for you is like 60%. You have to have a full marketing and advertising campaign to drive awareness and promotion of your publication. And in order to have 3 issues in the can, that is a significant amount of money. If you think about the covers, the artwork, the lettering, the editing, all of that stuff that goes into it, that is a significant amount of money, and they want 60%. Maybe the math works. I was struggling as an MBA to make those numbers work for me, just to be completely honest. But maybe people can. How long will creators accept the situation before taking their talents elsewhere? I think that we are seeing a little bit of that now, right? You see creators actually speaking out, which is a little risky. It is a little risky on their part to actually speak out and to, in some cases, also name names. I think Afram hit on this earlier this week when we spoke about it. And the live stream that we did earlier this week wasn't widely viewed. So I would say if you haven't watched it yet, I would definitely encourage you to go back and watch it. But he kind of hit on the fact that potentially some of these creators will just leave. They will just leave the industry. I think that if you can't buy gifts and presents for your significant other during the holiday season, doing what you love and doing it incredibly well because your employer, if you will, and I use that term loosely, doesn't pay you, that only goes on for so long. You know what I'm saying? And so the challenge, of course, is that you still have a lot of really young creators out there that are trying to break in. That even though somebody that is very experienced and very talented won't sign that deal and will go somewhere else, you still have a bunch of people that are coming up that are like, I just want a shot. I want to draw Spider-Man. I want to work on Batman. I want to work on Superman, whatever it happens to be. And that is part of the challenge, is that there are a lot of younger people out there. I remember when I was in fitness, right? When I was doing bodybuilding and I was talking to sponsors and stuff like that, they wanted to pay me in protein powder. And I'm like, my mortgage does not get paid in protein powder, sir. It gets paid in cash, right? But that's and I turned down a lot of deals. But right after me, I would see other people that they would then start promoting, and they would start using those people to raise their profile on social media, right? We're looking for ambassadors. We're looking for ambassadors to get the word out about our product. No, you're throwing bricks and you're giving people free products. And again, were these bad people that were trying to sponsor folks by giving them protein powder? No, they were trying to run a business the best way that they could. And that just meant that they didn't have the cash and they had to do it on goodwill. Mortgages don't get paid on goodwill and protein powder. Guide to Smart Comic Collecting was delivered yesterday. Chicago USPS Distribution Center works like they don't get. Turbo Man, keep me posted, brother, on that. All right, so we are way behind on the comment section. What is this? Philtastic is on the board. First couple of bloodshedders were great. Shadow Man was strong for a bit. Too many relaunches. My LCS stopped carrying it. I guess you guys were finishing up on that. Hold on, let me see. What is this? How's it going, Reggie? Just finished catching up on some Spider-Man so far. Dark Web has me very intrigued. That's what's up. I'll be honest with you, brother. I have not been reading my Spider-Man or my Punisher or my Venom or my Thor, because those are all on my pull list before I modified it. I've not been reading as many comics as I should be. Maybe new comics. Maybe I should say that. One of the questions that came into me, when I put up a Q&A on Instagram, one of the questions that came into me over this last week or so was, do you still read comics? And I do still read comics. At the moment, what I'm currently reading is Justice League Dark issue number 2. I read issue number 1. I'm now on issue number 2. I started reading Justice League Dark because of a conversation that I had with Mark up in Canada. I had a conversation with him days ago about my appreciation for Darkman. I think he put up a comment on a video about Darkman or something like that. And I had read some Darkman before, but I decided to go back and read. I think his first appearance was Strange Adventures, maybe 209, 205, something like that. I went back and read the first couple of appearances in Strange Adventures, and then I started reading Strange Adventures issue 215, and then I jumped over to reading Justice League Dark 1 and now 2. So I'm reading those books, and then I'm also reading, because I read multiple titles kind of simultaneously, I'm reading Nova issue number 3, the original volume #1 of Nova. So I am still reading comics. I tend to read some modern stuff, but a lot more older stuff because I just feel like my heart is with Silver Age. So I love Silver Age stuff, but because of the people that I talk with, because of the comments that are made, because of the things that I see out there in the media, I'm always kind of jumping around reading different things. So that's what I happen to be reading now, and I wanted to address that question of whether I just collect or whether I actually read. I still read, and the vast majority of the books that I have graded have actually been read, either those copies or digital copies. So I wanted to make sure that I addressed that one. All right, let me scroll down. All right, I think I'm all caught up. No, I'm reading Dead Man, straight up Dead Man. I guess maybe that's where they got the Graysons from, the Flying Graysons, right? Dead Man was a trapeze artist that fell, or no, technically he was shot. Technically he was shot and he fell and died, hence the name Dead Man. I still don't quite know why he wears the mask, but that's neither here nor there. Maybe somebody addresses that a little bit later, probably a couple of decades after he was addressed or introduced. Somebody finally explains the whole mask. For those folks that are coming in a little late, we've covered off on a couple of things. The biggest thing has been the non-payment of creators by comic book publishers. One of those publishers has actually spoken out, specifically Aftershock. They have basically let it known that they respect creators' rights and that it is their priority that creators actually get paid. They do, however, cite some cash flow issues and have indicated that all creators will be paid just as soon as they are paid by whoever it is that actually owes them money. All right. So wanted to make sure that I covered off on that. One of the other stories that I covered, and I think it was Squirrel Madness. I think it was Wayne, aka Squirrel Madness, that sent me a message and said, "You may have already heard of this." And I had not. So I was very appreciative that he sent me the article. A guy has basically killed his wife. This guy was cheating on his wife. He had a mistress, and he basically said that he killed his wife because the wife did not support his dream of opening a comic book shop with his brother. And he suffocated and strangled his wife, and then ultimately dismembered her and disposed of her body. And his daughter is the one that actually started to call police and say, "My mother is missing. My mother has not been seen in a little while." And they of course looked at the husband, and this guy accused her of running away of her own free will and maybe being on a beach somewhere, someplace sunny and warm. He accused her of having an affair. He accused her of lots of different things, said lots of different stuff about her. But lo and behold, they checked the guy's phone. He's having an affair. They check his browser history. He's searching for things like do-it-yourself blacklight, how to get away with murder, reciprocating saw, how to delete Facebook messages. Like there were all of this search history in his browser that basically pointed the finger right back at him. So he has confessed to doing it. And I guess he has indicated that he would lead the investigators to her remains wherever they might be. It is a tragic and sad story all the way around. And what's really interesting is that someone commented on Instagram saying that this guy and the wife are actually in his local area, and indicated that these were people that were known in their community. And again, my heart goes out to the daughter and to the community, and certainly for what happened to this woman, because a lot, as people said on Instagram, this guy basically is coming up with an excuse for doing something really awful to someone. And opening up a comic shop is that's just no justification at all. That is no justification at all for doing what was done, which is taking someone else's life. If comics are creating bad situations in your relationship, causing you to go into debt, causing you to get fired from your job, you might want to take a look at what you're doing, right? Not to say you're doing something wrong, but you might want to take a look at what you're doing and maybe try to figure out a different way, figure out what the path forward might be. And none of this is to say that I'm perfect, because I am I am far from that. But I try. I try. So again, a very, very tragic story. I'll throw this up on screen real quick. I don't know if there's any additional details, but I mean, you guys, somebody actually was like, is this a true story? They were like, is this true? This seems to be very much fiction. And they were like, can you send me the link? Post up the link. I went ahead and synced the link. This is actually on lawandcrime.com. You can search for this. I think this all happened in Pennsylvania. And again, you can see the date, December 16th, it was published. That is the guy that is going to go to jail probably for the remainder of his natural life. This guy was 57 years old in Pennsylvania. His wife was 55 years of age. So I think enough time has been spent on that one. So we're going to go ahead and take that one off screen real quick. Let me scroll through the comments. Honestly, it sounded like an excuse to say he was unhappy to look for an affair, not to kill anyone. I can't follow my dreams and be happy. So I'm going to find someone that supports my dreams and then kill the other person. Like, brother, get a divorce, go to counseling, talk to her, try to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Do not kill somebody. Yeah, never mind. And Nerdscape is like, he should have been arrested for the haircut. Never mind the murder. Be careful, Trev. Be careful. People from Pennsylvania do not play, sir. Trev, you have been warned. I'm going to take that off screen because I don't want to get you punch a pillow, punch a wall, go to counseling, go to a bar, go have an adult beverage, go for a walk, go work out, go do something other than what you did. That is not. So part of the reason why I bring that up is because one of the questions that came into me was how to properly clear the browser cache, because he was partially caught, right, because of his search history. It was all in there, right, the dates and the whole 9 yards. So my recommendation, first, do not kill your significant other. Do not kill anyone. Let me just say that. But if you're going to do something, incognito, just go incognito in your browser. Nothing gets saved, or learn how to create to erase your cache. It's in your privacy settings. I may have to talk to my attorney to make sure I don't jack myself up with this advice that I just gave. I don't think I can be a co-defendant. I don't think I can be a co-defendant. I'm just giving you some good hygiene habits for browsing the internet. Well said, Doug. Well done. Sounds like a comic book story. He could write it in jail. No one should ever buy that book. Let me just say, you might not want to buy that book or anything that is AI, that is stolen property. I'm going to just go ahead and throw that out there to just put a big bow on everything that was discussed on Wednesday. If AI is stealing from creators, do not buy that. That is not being supportive of creators and a guy that murdered his wife that writes a comic. Don't touch that one either. My 2 cents. How you doing, brother? It is good to see you. What is it, Mark is not an attorney, but he's like, Reggie, stop talking right now. Scrolling through, I don't want to be an accessory. I don't want to be. Remember what I say. Never start a sentence with Reggie said. Don't ever do that. If your wife gets mad at you because you spent some money, do not say Reggie said, okay? Because I don't want your wife talking to my wife to get me in trouble. I don't need that in my life. I don't need it. All right. So a question that came into me was, does removing a comic from the poly bag impact the value of that comic? The answer in my mind is no. No, removing a comic from a poly bag does not impact its value. And what we are specifically talking about is comics that are sealed in poly bags. It does not impact the value. Now, it might impact the desirability of that comic depending upon the comic. Like, there are some people that love those multi-packs, those 3-packs, the Whitman variants that come in the packs. They like them for the nostalgic effect. They like them sealed up because that's how they used to see them as children. That is a desirability thing. But from a value perspective, in my opinion, removing it from the poly bag does not impact the value of the comic. Now, why do some comics on the label say remove from poly bag? It says that because that is a fact that is noteworthy, right? It is a notable fact for that comic that it was in the polybag. It is not to say that that book is worth less as a result of it being in a polybag. CGC and CBCS, EGS, I don't think any of the grading companies grade comics in polybags. It's impossible to grade a comic in a polybag. And so they remove it from the poly, or you remove it from the poly, and they just make the notation on the cover that it was polybag. That does not mean that it impacts the value of the comic. My recommendation is that if you are going to buy a comic in a polybag, you probably want to be very careful with that. And I say it because so many comics that are polybagged do not have backing boards in them, in the polybag. So the comic could have been bent, folded, creased any number of ways, thus damaged, which could impact the value. And sometimes, depending upon the book, you can kind of see inside. If you kind of wiggle it around, you might be able to see. But if you are buying a book that is in a polybag, you are taking a little bit of a risk. And that's not to say that you shouldn't do it. It's simply to say, take caution when you actually do it. Okay. The other thing is that polybags can also damage the back of a comic because it sometimes has that seam that runs down vertically down it. And then if it's bundled with a poster or a trading card, the impressions that can be left can also damage the book. So you just want to be super careful if you are looking at looking to buy a book in a polybag. So let me offer that up. Let me look at the comments here. Like it's like, and don't reuse them. Let me see. Ever try to remove a poly bag from a 30-year-old book? It can really suck. Well said, Eric. Well said. Let me see. I think we did. I think we've spoken of, like, somebody asked me the question. And I was like, I think I did a video on that. And I did a quick search for it because I cannot remember all the videos like I used to be able to remember, because now there's a lot more of them. I tried to search for it. I could not find it, but I think that I've hit on this topic several times and it continues to come up, which is okay, That just gives us an opportunity to continue to educate and share information with people. The original mystery comic purchase, no doubt, brother. No doubt about it. You might catch a brick or you could get a dope book. You got to roll the dice. Kept my Sandman 50 signed by Neil Gaiman in the polybag because the polybag is proof from DC that it was one of 5,000 copies signed. There you go. And there's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong. That is one. I don't know that I would remove that, right? I don't know that I would remove that. But my guess is that somebody has. If they got that book graded, they definitely had that book removed. And I'm guessing, Doug, you may have to correct me. Did they make a notation? If they sent it into CBCS, I'm guessing there would be some kind of notation by CBCS, either in the database or on the label, to acknowledge that. But I may just be making stuff up. I sometimes do that. All right. Let me see. That was one. Another question that came into me was, what resources do I use online? That was one of the questions that came into me. I use a lot from just simply Google. Like, if there is something that I don't know about a comic or a character, whatever it happens to be, I just Google it, to be honest with you, in incognito mode, because you can never be too safe. People looking at your browser history. So I will use Google, and I will simply Google something to figure it out. So that's one big resource. Key Collector app. I cannot say enough about this app. It is like my best friend. I will tell you, I think I use Key Collector app at least once a day, if not multiple times a day, depending upon what I'm doing. One true nerd king, I have to acknowledge this real quick. The super sticker, thank you, brother. I absolutely appreciate the love. I wanted to acknowledge that before it disappears, because it gives me a little bit of a countdown, so that would actually go away. So thank you, brother. I definitely appreciate it. What is that? I would think you would think that they would do some kind of notation on there. So Key Collector app, huge fan of that. It's available in the App Store. Go Collect. I am a huge fan of Go Collect, and I've been a subscriber of Go Collect probably for 4 years, if not longer at this point. They have wonderful data on CGC and CBCS books. They have historical data. I absolutely love the pricing data that they have in there. Another, comicspriceguide.com. That is another resource. They have more than 1.1 million comics in their database. If I can't find what a book is, not Key Collector, comic book price guide typically has it in there. Comicspriceguide.com typically has it. 1.1 million comics. So if I can't figure it out, I try searching there, and a lot of times they will have something there. So as a reference, I find that website to be extremely helpful, and the same for pricing for raw books. I prefer them for raw books because I use Go Collect for graded books. The other thing is this is not digital, but the Guide to Smart Comic Collecting, written by my buddy Doug Bratton and myself. This is another helpful resource. It is not an online resource, but if you want to get smarter about the hobby of comic book collecting, this is a great way to go. And I will tell you right now, we do not have Isolation Issue 2 in or Volume 2 of the guide just yet, but we do have copies of this. I have a couple of copies of this that were sent to me for GarageCon that we still have. So if you want a copy, Cover B is still available right now, and I have it in a poly bag because I don't have that many copies, so I don't want to go all willy-nilly with these. But Cover B is available on regiecollects.com, the Guide to Smart Comic Collecting, another great resource that is out there. All right. Liger Style says cover price versus key collector versus so what I would say is you absolutely have to remove key collector. Key collector has to be removed from that. And I say that because key collector is not a pricing service. Key collector is not a pricing service. Key collector has a rolling average from eBay, and I think it's a 3-month rolling average from eBay. That is how they do pricing. That pricing is basically there to just indicate pay attention, don't pay attention. Sometimes they use that rolling data to decide whether a book stays in key collector or gets added to key collector. Key collector is it's a reference guide. It is a reference guide, not a pricing guide. But what I do is I look it up. What's the significance of this book? Is there something significant that happens in this book? Okay, is it worth any money? Okay, cool. Now I know that it's worth something. Let me go to an actual pricing service to figure how much it's actually worth based upon the grade that I see, right? High, medium, low doesn't really help when you're talking grades. And as you all know, there's a big difference between high and low when you're talking about comics. So you definitely want to use a real pricing guide to price your books. Doug uses Cover Price. He actually uses Cover Price specifically for the videos that he helps me to create. He writes the scripts, he does the research, I do the verbatim stuff, but he uses Cover Price because they have raw and graded prices in there. So he prefers Cover Price. He also really likes their hats. He really likes their hats. There you go. Eric says, I like how CLZ is connected to Cover Price. CLZ is another really great resource for organizing your collection. And what I will tell you is in one of the videos coming up this week, I'm going to introduce you guys to some new functionality that has been added to a website that I think that you guys will enjoy. What I will tell you, Todd, is that you might have more keys if you had Key Collector app. And I think they have a free version that I think you can use. What's great about it is that it helps you to identify the significance of books. And that's what I think is really wonderful about it, because you can't know everything about every book from every publisher. Like sometimes what I will do is I will actually search for a creator's name to figure out what that creator has worked on. Like, who is this creator? What have they touched? Who do they work for? I search for publishers. I use, honestly, Key Collector app as a resource. And I think that it's wonderful. I really do. Scrolling through some of the comments here. There you go. Fantastic is like CLZ helped me organize. If you search on the website, I'm sorry, on YouTube, I do have a video out there about CLZ where I kind of walk through the features and functionality of that app. It is a solid app. There you go. The problem with Key Collector app is the free option is incredibly limited. I respect it, brother. It's a legitimate point. But free is free, right? Free is free, So, yeah. Got Key Collector app after using the free version for like 10 minutes. Hey, Eric is like, I can only do 10 minutes before I just had, how much is it? I don't think it's all that much. Sometimes, like for me, one of the very first services that I signed up for was Go Collect. and I continue to pay, I think it's $5.99 per month because I'm grandfathered in. I continue to pay that money. In my opinion, I cannot buy or sell graded comics without knowing the value of those comics. And spending $5.99 more than pays for itself if I'm buying and selling comics every single month, right? And I'm not doing a whole lot of either right now, to be completely honest. But my point is, it's a great resource that has a lot of great information in it that is more than paid for itself. Potentially, Key Collector app and Cover Price and comicspriceguide.com and these other apps that are out there potentially will help you to pay for themselves. $20 one-time payment, regiecollects.com. Just throw it out there. All right, let me keep it moving. So I had a chance. Is Dave still in here? I had a chance to watch Black Adam. We got the news that Black Adam was supposed to be released at Thanksgiving. And I thought that it was supposed to be released on HBO Max. It was released on digital platforms for purchase, not for free. But I went this weekend and saw that it was available on HBO Max for free. And I watched it. And it was okay. I was not blown away by the movie. There were parts of it where I was like, oh, that's dope. Some Hawkman stuff I thought was dope. Adam Smasher I thought was pretty interesting. Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate I thought was pretty solid. It was an okay movie. I watched it one time. It might be one of those movies like Dave said that you have to watch a couple of times to really appreciate it. But I was not blown away, but I was intrigued. I was intrigued by the movie. But I wanted to bring that up because Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was the center of a little bit of controversy, and I think you can see that from the thumbnail that I put up for this live stream. There was an accusation. There was an accusation by someone in the influencer sphere, maybe the news sphere for comics. They got it wrong. And I get it wrong. I get it wrong. So I'm not blaming this person at all. But Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson denies unfollowing Warner Brothers and Black Adam on social media. I do believe that this was the guy that is on comicbook.com. I think that's who he works for, comicbook.com. He basically came out and said that The Rock unfollowed Warner Brothers and the Black Adam movie. The official Instagram accounts. And Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson responded and he says 100% not true. He never followed either of those accounts online. And again, this is just a case where I think his name right here, Brandon Davis. There you go. Comicbook.com, Brandon Davis. He put up a post that basically said that that The Rock unfollowed them, and come to find out that The Rock never actually followed either one of the accounts. The guy, Brandon, then apologized. He was like, hey, my bad. I got it wrong. And then The Rock went hard. He says, after Davis apologized for the mistake and deleted his original tweet, which was the right thing, Dwayne responded, we're always good, bro. Insane, toxic time and culture. On a positive note, tell your mama I said hi. So The Rock went hard. The Rock went hard and dropped a mama joke. He dropped the mama joke on Brandon, and so all is forgiven. But again, he never actually followed. And this article basically highlights that this is not the first time something that has actually happened like this before. Other people have been accused of unfollowing accounts in the wake of various controversies and when things aren't necessarily going right. In this case, he never actually followed them. So a story that is not necessarily a story at all in any way, shape, or form. Man, The Rock, man, he went hard, man. Richard says, I never liked those guys enough to begin to follow them anyway. So it's all a setup for WrestleMania. There you go. Best part of Black Adam was there's after credits. Oh, I forgot to watch the after credits. I forgot to watch the Superman thing. I forgot to see it. I need to go watch it now. You know me, when a movie's over, I just click it off. I click it off. I go on to do something else. And I watched it yesterday and clearly did not watch until the end. Black Adam was one of the better DC films, truthfully, says Liger Style. I think The Rock unfollowed. WB is bigger news than DCU. I watched Black Adam last night on HBO Max. I can't be happy with JSA. That doesn't include Green Lantern and Flash. Hawkman was dope though, man. Hawkman was dope. I like that actor. I like that actor that plays Hawkman. So I'll be honest with you. And maybe you guys will agree with this. One of the awesome things about seeing these characters on screen to me is it makes me become interested in the actual comics featuring these characters. So as I'm sitting there watching the movie, I go to Key Collector app and I'm like, first appearance of Black Adam. What is that? I then go to other resources to figure out how much those books are selling for. I was on ShortBox, for example, looking at ShortBox to see, and there's actually one copy on ShortBox that is actually pretty affordable right now in my mind. There's some others that are a little overpriced, but I went and looked at Hawkman, and it's like seeing these characters come to life on screen in my mind prompts me to become interested in those characters. And I think that in my mind, that's one of the cool things about this stuff. I don't know, take it or leave it, but that was one of the things that I tend to do is I want like, oh, well, let me go read this. Let me go read that. Maybe now I've already read some Black Adam stuff, for some early Black Adam. Maybe now I'll go read some Hawkman. I can tell you in the 100K collection, I have an entire bin. I have an entire bin of Hawkman. And I've gone through it and I'm like, I don't know. But then I saw Hawkman on screen in that plane and in that house. And I'm like, so is Hawkman rich? Is Hawkman like the Bruce Wayne with wings, like real wings? I am intrigued. I am intrigued to now read some Hawkman. If you are a Hawkman fan and know of some good story arcs to read, let me know because potentially I will go read them. Chris Bigger shouting out Hawkman. Oh my goodness, what is that? Hawkman and Fate would have handed Black Adam his behind in the books. I don't know. I don't know what the truth is. I'd actually read some Sabic as well, the original first Sabic, and I think the second Sabic. I read some of that stuff. I don't know. To me, again, I don't have a frame of reference for how strong Hawkman and Dr. Fate really are. So again, I welcome some of that stuff. So one thing I will tell you is I have a gate around my property. I have a gate around my property because I like to keep riffraff. I like to keep riffraff outside. And this guy won an award. He won an award, Comic Book Community Award. He won the award because I wasn't in the category. He won the award. I'm happy for him. But I like to keep riffraff outside the gate. We cannot have riffraff on the property. So Bueller, the gate will never open up, my friend. Aren't you in California? Aren't you in California right now? You're not even in North Carolina. Scrolling through some of the comments here. Is somebody messing with Tina? Is someone messing with Tina? We will not abide by that. We will not abide by that. All right. Another question that came into me was, a question came in. I didn't know the answer to this question. Somebody asked me, can you not still do fast track for CGC for the clean press and then a separate one for getting the book graded? Like they offer, I do believe offered before, the ability to place a fast track on either one of those things. It appears now, and I haven't researched it myself, but it appears now you can only do a fast track for the book. So whether it be, a clean press grade, you have to pay for fast track for that as a combined service. You cannot do them independently now. And again, I have not looked into it deeply, but that was one little tidbit that came to me after the question was asked that I didn't know the answer to, because before I do believe you could actually do them separately. It seems like that is no longer the case. Someone asked me whether there was going to be any other like tchotchkes coming out, like the Gibbon Spit, which is the hot sauce that I introduced, or the challenge coins. The answer is probably no. The answer is probably no. A lot of those tchotchke things that I was doing was for the Swoldier supply box. And this was the monthly box that I was sending out to people that I ended, I want to say in September or October. I shut it down because in my mind, a $50 box was a lot of money for people to pay with where the economy was going in my mind. And in my mind, more people weren't going to sign up to get the box because the economy was getting worse, not better. And so I decided to shut down the Swoldier supply box because it just didn't make sense. It didn't make sense. So I shut it down. So a lot of those things that I was creating, like the pins and the challenge coins and the hot sauce and the black lights, a lot of that stuff was being done for the Swoldier supply box. So I don't know if I'm going to introduce any of that stuff on the horizon, but you never know. You never know what could happen as the economy starts to get better, what might actually be introduced. So the answer is no to those things. And I don't even know, the challenge coins aren't even available on the site for sale. So at some point, maybe they will be. I don't know. I may end up just giving them away when I meet people at cons and things like that. We'll see. We'll see how that actually plays out. I think that is all the questions that have kind of came in. I've kind of spread the questions out throughout this live stream. So I think that I've answered just about all of the questions. Swoldier supply box, Reggie felt bad. Man, that shipping to Canada was brutal, brother. Like, it was brutal. The Swoldier supply box was $50, but shipping, depending upon where you were, was as much as like 12 or 14 bucks. And to Canada, I had to charge more because it was, I don't know, was it 30 something, 38? It was something crazy. It was some ridiculous number. And yeah, so we worked it out. But yeah, I did feel bad for, I still use my Give and Spit. I'll be honest with you. I still have a couple of bottles of it. Let me see. I was scrolling through some of my stuff. Hold the spit is for, it's Give and Spit. It's okay. It's okay. It's healthy. It's health serum. It's like that coffee that comes out of the rear end of the monkeys. It's okay. Don't worry about it. It's all perfectly healthy. Scrolling just over the comments. All right, I think I'm all caught up. Bueller, I cannot wait for the next time I get to see you in person, my friend. It was an absolute pleasure to hang out with you for the very first time, face to face. At the con. I look forward to interacting with you again, my man. So I think that's it. That is essentially the show. We have some really great content that is going to be coming out from the channel over the course of this week. I just realized I went over an hour. I don't know how I did that. We have some really great content that's going to be coming out from the channel over the course of this week. We're going to do comic book hacks, where I'm going to show you guys some cool hacks that I've come up with here in the comic book room. Some of you are going to be like, that's not a hack. That's just a thing. It is what it is. Helpful tips, pointers, call them hacks, call them what you will. I think it'll be a good video that some people will enjoy. I'm gonna highlight some books that you should avoid buying. Books that I'm going to avoid buying that you might want to consider avoiding buying. But then I'm also going to talk about some books that potentially you want to snag. These are really awesome keys that have gone down in value. In one case, as much as 54%, if my notes are correct, that are over there. But a couple of really cool videos that are going to be coming out this week. We're going to drop the podcast on Monday, available on all of your preferred podcasting platforms. And then on Wednesday, we're going to be doing Comics Today at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope that you guys will tune in for the live stream and also for the pre-recorded videos. As always, if you guys need to reach out to me for whatever reason, feel free to do so on Instagram at Regie Collects. Take care.
My body ate itself until it found its passion. They got fat while we starved, but it's power in fasting. Until I turn to ashes, I remain stoic through my rap heroics. I painted 10,000 poems, then I drank the potion of poetry and motion. I started choking, it was potent. My throat chakra downloaded, knowledge hungry. I was embarrassed I could ask my parents for money when I had a full tummy. So I asked for wisdom, better than crypto, sweeter than honey. I don't take it for granted, I don't wear capes and masks.